a podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome back, everybody. This is indeed The Angry Chicken, as the disembodied voice of Broad said. I'm Garrett Earl here, as always, with Ridiculous Hat. Jocelyn couldn't make it today. Had something come up. Had to sit this one out. Anyways, there's the two of us, and I will fool myself into some sort of delusion, thinking that with only two people, maybe talking about far too many cards will go a little quicker.
I mean, you're not wrong that it will go quicker, but I still am curious about the eventual total duration of this episode.
Yeah, let's just see where it takes us. How's that sound?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do every week.
Life is a garden, dig it?
Okay, I liked that, but I meant do a show and talk until we don't anymore. But yes,
okay.
Life is a garden. Yeah.
Sounds good. Hey, man, I don't know if you know this. I know Hearthstone and Hearthstone podcasts are a rarity for you. But there's an expansion coming out next week. Tuesday, December 7th, to be exact.
I think you said the opposite of what you meant for comedic effect.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not the expansion part, the Hearthstone podcast thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. There is an expansion coming also. There's a patch tomorrow for the expansion next week. And there's cards.
There's many cards, many of which we still have to talk about, and we will talk about them today. But next Tuesday, this expansion has come about so quickly, which I think is mostly, we haven't really even had a chance to talk about this, but I think it's mostly Mercenaries' fault. Like, a new game mode coming out is not something that happens frequently. So the fact that came out and we got our mini set a little bit later than we're used to, which is a ridiculous thing because there's still a relatively new thing in my mind. Doesn't matter. All of that made it like there was all this exciting stuff happening in between. This new expansion is coming up so quickly that we haven't even had a chance to talk about, should we record on Tuesday next week, which I kind of think we should, but I haven't even looked at my calendar. I don't even know if I can do that.
Yeah. It's in a less than 2 month period from October 12th to December 7th. New game mode, mini set, balance patch, reveal season, American Thanksgiving, new expansion. And Blizzard got a week off last week, and that was, the employees deserve it, but we found out in retrospect that also they got the week off after the executive suite learned of the Wall Street Journal article about one Robert Kotick, known as Bobby, to his friends, whoever they are. And so the employees have also just been under tremendous time pressure because Mercenaries have slipped a few times, from what we can tell. It compressed the mini set because of the pressure on the engineers, and that means the mini set came out, and then all of a sudden, hey, take a week off in the middle of release hype. And I know that, like, the actual reveal stream they usually do was canceled too, and so they just disseminated all the reveals very, very suddenly to everyone. And I mean, I think the community involvement was really great there. But it just
Were
feels
you
like
aware
this
that the
crazy...
podcast The Angry Chicken got a chance to reveal a card for the first time?
Which card was it, Garrett?
Well, let me tell you, it was Rune of the Archmage and Magister Dawngrasp, which you can find on episode 443. Cards. Yes, and one of them caused a bit of a stir. I don't know if you know this. You know what? That's an old overlay. That's why you're changing to Jocelyn if you're watching the video version. But this was an unplanned bit that I am now committing to.
Yes. Well, I admire your follow through here. But I think it's fair to say that the past 6 to 8 weeks feel disjointed in a way. Not to say that people aren't working really hard, not to say there isn't a ton of awesome content that we're enjoying, but it definitely feels like everything is just a little bit off from how a lot of folks, including the team at the office and us, wanted to be, and it all just kind of shifted a little bit. It's I feel like I'm brushing my teeth with my left hand, and I'm right-handed, and it's just like, and I just every so often I just go too far, and I get toothpaste in my cheek, and I'm like,
That's
not what I wanted to happen.
better than bloody gums, which let's be honest, we've all been tired enough to make that mistake before. So, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, like another thing, like not to make the show go any longer, but another thing that's like been bouncing around a lot is like every single time there's like news about the lawsuit or some new terrible thing has been found out about Bobby Kotick. There's a lot of conversation within the Hearthstone community specifically about how, this was timed. They timed it around and a big announcement to like get attention away from this terrible news. And I'm just sitting here going, no, I think it's a really regularly updated game, and there's constantly terrible news coming out about the lawsuit, and that's why that is the case.
If you put out articles on Tuesday afternoons, you'll probably hit a day. Like, it's Battleship, except the board is checkers. You'll probably hit every other space at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just another thought I've had rattling around my skull that we just really haven't had time to talk about. Not that we have time to talk about it this week, but since we're discussing all of that, it's on my mind. It's on my mind that I'm just like, no, they're not. No, this is not some big conspiracy. It's just that Hearthstone has frequent updates. That's all it means.
As a person that works in corporate America and has for a while, the single most effective way to debunk almost every conspiracy theory I've heard about or around Hearthstone is, if you've ever worked in a corporation, think about how hard it is to get a group of people to do something at a specific time. And then think about these bizarrely convoluted situations that people put forth and imagine, and just think about how difficult it is to do things that are way simpler than that, and how often things get cut in every process. And things get shortened and abbreviated and simplified over time because they just don't work. All these conspiracy theories require these vast and precisely coordinated events that just don't happen in corporate America. Things aren't that clean.
Agreed. I have nothing more to add. So anyway, Alterac coming out next week, Tuesday, December 7th. There's a new, I don't even know what you call it. There's an event that involves like a new currency point system thing where we can earn some cool stuff. Tell me about Honor Hat.
Well, it's Klingons have it. As do Samurai.
Kotick does not.
I mean, is he a Klingon?
I don't think it's mutually exclusive.
I don't think so either, but I don't know. We'll get back to you, listeners. We'll do some research and update you on that next week. So Honor is this new. It's like currency isn't the right word. It's an experience equivalent. A progression mechanic.
Progression mechanic. Thank you. There's a good way to put it.
Okay, so if you do stuff, you get honor, and if you have more honor, you get stuff.
Yeah.
So you mainly get honor by playing Hearthstone, which is a thing that we hope you do, because we are a Hearthstone podcast. If you don't do that, we're glad you're listening to the show. Please keep downloading, but we're confused. So when you play a game of Hearthstone, you get 10 honor. When you win a game of Hearthstone, you get 10 more honor. And of course, the theme of this expansion is Horde versus Alliance. So you won't know this until you play the game. But if you win against an opponent of the opposite faction, if you're Horde and you beat Alliance, or if you're Alliance and you beat Horde, then you get an additional 20 honor. So it's 10, 20, or 40 total, based on how the game goes. So all the constructed modes give this because it provides constructed cards. So traditional arena and duels, ranked arena duels, and it gives you golden cards at certain honor levels. And there's some of it, it starts off with commons. You can see everything in the rewards track upgrade. This is kind of an extension of the rewards track for this expansion. Frostwolf Kennels, Iceblood Tower, Iceblood Garrison, Dunbalder Bridge, Dunbalder Bunker, Stormpike Aid Station, and Vandar Stormpike for Alliance, and the Horde equivalents for the Horde side.
Yeah, it works all its way all the way up to like you can get yourself a freaking golden Drekthar. If you achieve High Warlord, yeah, these are all like playing off of the old honor system in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and Celestalon says, actually, the faction's gonna be shown in the UI, which is awesome. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, that is really rad. I was about to go into one of my, that's interesting. It's kind of weird that they're not showing that. I wonder why they didn't, and thank you for the clarification, Celestalon, that in fact, we will know if we are Horde or fighting Horde or Alliance in the UI when we're playing the game. That is good to know.
Wait a minute. So, Garrett, have you actually done AVs? I don't. Wow.
No, I did not do like the OG vanilla AV, which is infamous / famous depending on who you talk to. But I played a metric butt ton of Alterac Valley in my Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King days because I was just always playing World of Warcraft during those 2 expansions.
So Barson is saying in the chat that these are the objectives on the BG. On the Alterac Valley BG, and you'll notice on the Horde side, you start with the Horde objectives and end up at the Alliance ones, and on the Alliance side, you start at the Alliance ones and end up at the Horde ones.
Yes.
They're exactly reversed.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
You're actually doing the battleground.
Yes, that is essentially what is going on here.
That's fun.
It is fun.
And as you earn honor, you earn golden copies of these cards. The golden versions of these are not in packs. You can't collect them. You won't get extras. The normal versions you can still open, but these golden ones are exclusive to this event for now. And you'll be able to earn this over the course of the entire expansion's rewards track. The original communication was confusing and said that this was only for the first month from December 7th to January 11th, but that's not quite accurate. You can actually earn these golden cards over the course of the entire expansion. The part that ends January 11th, that's basically the amount of lead time they need to diamondify either Drekthar or Vandar. After the first month is done, whoever's in the lead, air quotes, wins, and they diamondify the leader of the winning faction, and everybody gets it. So it's either Drekthar or Vandar based on who's winning.
This seems well designed and with like maximum effort to ruffle as few feathers as possible.
Yes, though there was still some ambiguity in the communication, but Deck Tech clarified within like 5 or 6 hours of this being posted because people were concerned that it was going to be. They did the math for if this was December 7th through January 11th to earn all the golden cards or they go away forever, which was the fear that people had. That would be 360 games in a month, which is a lot. But it turns out to be a 4-month period, and also after the expansion period we're learning from our chat right now. Hi, Celestalon. Hi, how's it going? You should have gotten that boba. After the expansion period, the legendary quest chain will be replaced with another means to earn these rewards. So, it looks like there will always be a way to get these.
Yeah. And if you're not already following HS Deck Tech on Twitter, you should do so, because there's a lot of great clarifications there anytime there's any type of misunderstanding with communication on blog posts like this. So go give the dude a follow. Deck Tech's good people. He's been a guest host on this very podcast, but now he works for Blizzard, so I wouldn't expect that to happen anytime soon.
You know, back in our day, Garrett, we knew him even before he worked at Blizzard.
We did.
All the way back in 2019.
All the way back in 2019, which does feel like another time, because it was.
Yeah.
We talked about Star Wars at the Marriott. It was lovely.
That sounds on brand for both of you. You know, back in 2019, there were only 9 classes in Hearthstone. Can you believe it?
Yes. Because I was there.
Talking about Star Wars.
Yes. So anyways, we got a lot of cards to talk about today. Before we do that, we want to thank those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. If you like what we're doing here on The Angry Chicken, you want to support Ridiculous Hat, Jocelyn, and myself, go check out the Patreon. It's an opt-in way to support us. We have some perks for you over there. But it really, at the end of the day, it's an opt-in subscription for the show. So if you want to give us $1 or more, check out patreon.com/TAC. You'll get access to our Discord. And we want to thank our latest patron, Squatch Drew, which is just a great name. So thank you, Squatch Drew.
Hey, thanks.
Keep on squatching. And let's just get right into it. We have quite a few cards still to talk about. Let's kick things off in class alphabetical order with Demon Hunter. And had I believe every single card we haven't already discussed, meaning every single card we are about to discuss, falls into the token Demon Hunter archetype I am really hoping works.
I think we probably play these in the token Demon Hunter archetype. I do think that one of the cards we're about to talk about goes into the Demon Hunter archetype. Which, if we're playing a Demon Hunter deck, we just play the card.
You just
That
play
is
the
the
card.
hero card, Kurt.
You're talking about Kurtris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kurtris seems...
I sure am.
Kurtris seems damn good. But let's work our way down here. Let's start with Battle-Worn Vanguard, a 2-mana 2/2 common Demon Hunter minion that reads after your hero attacks, summon 2 1/1 Fell Wings. And they're just 1/1 demons. Nothing else. Vanilla ass cards. But they've got that little demon flag on it, so if you have any demon synergy, there you have it. I mean, Demon Hunters tend to attack. And getting 2 1/1s.
You don't say.
Getting 2 1/1s for your trouble off a 2/2/2 seems not so bad. It seems like an above average cheap minion here.
Seems like I play a weapon on turn 1 and then have a turn 2 4/4.
That sounds pretty nice. Spread over 3 bodies.
Yeah. But then we keep going. Like, do you remember Sharkfin Fan?
I don't.
The 2/2 neutral pirate.
I'm punching it
that
in
when you
right
attack,
now.
you get a 1/1 pirate.
Wow, it is remarkably hard to get a Google image search on this. Oh, yeah, you know what? I remember the art more than I remember the card. Oh, it was Rasticon's Rumble. That's why. Yep. Yeah.
But one of the few good cards from that set, because it was a 2/2 that made you a bunch of perpetually spawning pirates. And this is double the effect. And Demon Hunters tend to attack, as you have said, very wisely. I'd be surprised if this card didn't see some kind of relevant play. It's so snowbally. Like, you remember Satyr Overseer. And when that card got going early, it felt pretty hard to catch up with. And
made me real unhappy. A lot.
Yeah. So this is, it's not a 4/2 that makes it 2/2 right away, but it's still a lot of stuff pretty quickly. And you get to keep trading the 1/1s and making more. There's some juice here.
All right, let's also talk about Flanking Maneuver, which is a 4-mana rare Demon Hunter spell. Summon a 4/2 demon with Rush. If it dies this turn, summon another. So 4 mana for effectively 8/4 worth of stats, providing you can get a 2 health minion to die, which doesn't seem like a big ask, and both of these minions are going to have Rush on them. What's bad about this card?
The comparison I've heard a lot is Restless Mummy, and it's not super far off. Though Restless Mummy, if you just played it in past, you weren't thrilled about it, but it still had Reborn. If you just played this in past as a 4 mana for a 4/2, it is a terrible deal. However, if you were attacking with both of these, that is 4 mana for 8 damage. That's a very good deal. This kills a Flesh Giant.
I think even if you're attacking with only one of these, it's pretty decent, because you can kind of think of it as like a 4 damage removal spell that leaves behind a 4/2 body, which I don't hate.
Yeah. I don't hate it, is definitely where I land. This is definitely more defensive. You're not going to play this proactively, so I'm a little bit less high on this one, but I could totally see it being in decks. I don't know. It's all right.
It seems like an effective tool, but you bring up a good point with it not being proactive in the least.
Yeah, like, you're not just going to fire this out and pass and be happy about it. So, it's fine. There are so many removal and rush options right now that I don't know if this makes the cut, but if you're trading with multiple things, it can be quite powerful. And if you're hitting that 4 health breakpoint on both hits, it's pretty devastating.
Yeah. Now, the only other Demon Hunter card we have not already talked about is the hero card that you have already teased, which is Kurtris Demon Render. God, I love the art of this card. There's some phenomenal art this
It's so
set.
cool.
I am just gonna say it.
Yeah,
This is just such a great pose. Composition. Anyway, Kurtris Demon Render, gonna give you 5 armor like all of those hero cards we've talked about so far, but Kurtris is only gonna cost you 6 mana. It's a legendary hero card for Demon Hunters. With a battle cry that reads, summon 2 1/4 demons with Rush, improved by your hero attacks this game. And you're probably wondering, if you haven't already read, what the hero power is. It's Ashfallen's Fury, which is only 1 mana, which stands out among most of the hero powers we've seen so far. And it's +2 attack this turn after a friendly minion attacks. Refresh this.
So, a few things going on here. The upgrading. Do you know how the upgrading works? Have I explained this yet? I don't think I did.
I never thought to even go get clarification on it. I assumed you got another 1/4 demon.
No, so the demons get bigger.
Oh.
It always summons 2 demons. It's only the front half that gets bigger. Every time your hero has attacked this game, gives them +1 attack. So if you've attacked once before you play this, then they're 2 4s. If you attack twice, then they're 3 4s. You attack 3 times, they're 4 4s, etc., etc., etc.
And as we confirmed earlier, the breaking news on this episode, Demon Hunters like to attack.
Yes, that is new information as well. They put that in the patch notes. And then the hero power. I want to look at this hero power real closely. Let's make sure that we explain what's going on here. +2 attack this turn. Okay. After a friendly minion attacks, you refresh this. You get to do this again. So there are only 2 hero powers that are strictly an upgrade. You lose nothing from what you had before. Right, there's this and the Mage hero power, Magister Dawngrass, revealed in the Angry Chicken episode 443. Please go like and subscribe, whatever. But also, if you look at Dreadlich Tamsin's hero power, you end up shuffling. You lose the self-damage ability, and most of the time, in every other class where there isn't the Demon Seed, then that would be a strict upside. But there is a Demon Seed, so it's not a strict upside. But here it's a strict upgrade, right? It's +2 attack instead of +1 attack. I want you to think about this card, Garrett, as every time you attack with a minion, add a second slice to your hand. That's a lot of damage.
You're right. You still have to pay the mana. So that is an apt analogy. I thought about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, but you still have to. Never mind. Yeah, that's
like the turn after you play this. You attack with 2 minions and then hit your opponent for 6.
Yeah, I thought we were. 6. I thought we wanted longer Hearthstone games. Is my reaction to this hero power.
You know who doesn't? Kurtris Demon Render.
Kurtris does not want longer games.
And he's a 6 mana hero card, right? Like, so this is still it's a 6 mana card. Is not the fastest thing in the universe. Hearthstone games.
It's pretty quick compared to the other hero cards we've seen so far. The most of them.
Yeah, it's the first Demon Hunter hero card ever. First ever.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like compared to other hero cards. Like I don't know if you heard, but this podcast, Angry Chicken, revealed Magister Dawngrass, which costs a whopping 8 mana. So by comparison to that,
this is 2
cheap.
less.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about 2 cheaper.
Yeah.
Because 8 minus 6 is 2. That's the difference.
Less expensive. Cheap has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
We're going to work on Kurtris' marketing.
Yeah, I think that he'll market himself pretty well by killing the opponent. So it's just a bunch of damage. You're still attacking with your hero for a single target. Like, taunts still get in the way. You still have to stick board. If you have a bunch of minions, you're probably winning anyways. But just the sheer amount of damage potential here seems pretty exciting. And like for me, I'm the one that's excited. Maybe some people are less excited by getting hit in the face, but I'm excited to do that to them. So I really want to play this card. And I think that this goes in. I can't think of a Demon Hunter deck that would skip this card unless you're going incredibly low curve aggro. And even then, you still probably want a giant pile of damage that synergizes with minion removal. And with the demon summoning,
fact that you play this and you still develop board. Right? Like, if you're going extremely aggro in Demon Hunter, almost every excruciatingly aggressive Demon Hunter we have ever seen involves attacking. So these 1/4s are going to be bigger than 1/4s. And then you just get an objectively more impactful hero power out of the deal as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think the goal of slowing down the meta is going to have to woefully miss the mark for you to not even consider Kurtris in the most aggressive Demon Hunter lists.
Well, I mean, it's the meta can be slower and they can print more aggro tools. Both can happen at the same time. Because if you make the meta, this is something that I talked about with Mr. Smite. If you make the meta more about attacking and minions, then taunts and healing get better. So Kurtris doesn't want to deal with light shower elementals. Does not want to see those. So the current Demon Hunter deck that people complain about, and I don't think it's the best one, but I think that it's one that we hear about is the Lifesteal Demon Hunter. I think the best one is Fell Demon Hunter, which also attacks a bunch with its hero. But Lifesteal Demon Hunter, if you are a light shower elemental deck, Lifesteal Demon Hunter doesn't care. They kill you from 30 from hand. But if you make the format more about attacking and minions, then you play these taunts and you play a bunch of healing and you kind of get this push and pull where you can interact with all the stuff that your opponent is doing because it's still based on the board and based on life totals and based on Hearthstone, right? So I'd rather have that, even though, yes, if your opponent plays this and you don't do anything to slow them down, you're going to die. That's kind of how that's supposed to go. If you don't slow down your opponent's giant mid-game power spike after their aggressive opening, yeah, that's how aggro decks kill you. This is your Dino Tamer Bran, except it's a little bit slower, but gives you board in the process. I actually think the closest comparison that I can think of is probably Shaman Galakron. I think it's not too far off there.
All good points. I don't know, I'm just, again, I'm mildly concerned about this card, but at the same time, as someone who direly wants to play a competitively viable token Demon Hunter, I'm really excited about this card. So I'm walking a line of hype.
You need good cards for decks to exist. Good cards are cool, and sometimes good cards kill other people. That's what's going to happen sometimes. You're playing a proactive strategy, and you can't kill people, then you stop playing the deck. So I don't want you to go play Token Demon Hunter and have a great first 4 turns and then never win. Sometimes I want you to play Kurt, and then I want your opponent to not have an answer, then I want them to die and you to win. I'd like that. So that's gonna happen sometimes. We're gonna see good cards in the set. The power level is what we've seen this whole year. They're not shying away from printing things that look flashy and probably win games, and that's cool. But they're also going to be flashy cards when we get into the other classes that are more defensive. That'll also do just fine at stopping this thing. And if you play this on 6 and I clear your 1/4s, then play a single Annoyotron, nice Kurtris attack. Good luck.
It also, like, it feels very much like the team is on kind of the other side of letting these wind-up toys go, ready to catch them, like, immediately with balance as needed.
There'll be a balance patch. We can plan on it 9 days after the expansion because that is the last Thursday before they go on their 2-week holiday break. We can expect to see that on the 19th.
It's my favorite Oscar
the
Bay movie is There Will Be Balance.
Yes. That's okay. I like There Will Be Blood, and if you play Kurtris, There Will Be Blood, and then balance. It's fine. Also, I want to make sure that we call out the combo that chat is very excited about. Fellfire Deadeye. You remember Fellfire Deadeye? The 2-mana 2/3 that makes your hero power cost 1 less. It's not in this expansion. It was in Darkmoon Races. And then you remember Expendable Performers, the 7-mana spell from Darkmoon Faire that fills your board with 1/1 rushers, and if they all die, do it again. If you go on turn 9, Deadeye first, so you have the board space, and then Performers. That's 26 damage. So you attack 12 times. So that's 12 attacks, 13 hero power is 26 damage.
But Performers are rush, right?
So every time you attack, you refresh your 0-mana Kurtris hero power. So you trade all your Performers in.
Oh, right. Yes. Boy. Okay. Well, that's fun.
I don't think that'll come up a lot, but it is fun to think about, and you will see it on the first Trollden video of the expansion. That's going to happen.
Yep. I don't think this is going to be like my example from a few weeks back, where I don't think everyone listening is going to see that happen to themselves.
No,
I think it's I think it's adequately difficult to achieve.
It's cool.
Yeah.
What about Druid? Is Druid cool?
Let's talk about... I am kind of digging Druid, which is not usually my go-to class. There's a few cards we haven't yet discussed, so let's get into it with Claw Fury Adept, which is a 2-mana, 2/3 common Druid beast with Battlecry. Give all other friendly characters +1 attack this turn. As well as this kind of goes with some other board buffing. Heart of the Wild, the 3-mana common Druid spell, which is give a minion +2/+2, then give your beast +1/+1. This is more beast specific, but you know what's a beast? Claw Fury Adept.
That is true.
So we've got 2 board buffing centric cards here. One of them is more beast synergized than the other, but the other is also a beast. We've talked about Frostwolf Kennels. We've talked about Dire Frostwolf. Both of those make adorable wolf tokens that would certainly love to be buffed, because I want those adorable wolf tokens to stick around.
Oh, the cubs! The
pups
cubs are so cute!
Yeah. Oh, they are cubs, aren't they? Wouldn't they be a pup? Are they cubs if they're wolves? I never thought about this. Sorry.
Yeah.
Please ignore me. This is a tangent that is not important.
The cubs are very important. You don't talk about them that way.
I don't know my wolf.
Think about our
terminology.
Chicago listeners.
That's a bear. So that's why it's a cub.
Is that true?
The Chicago Bears, their logo is a bear.
No, Chicago Cubs.
The Chicago Cubs, their logo is a baby bear, which is a cub.
Does it grow up into a football team?
It doesn't grow up into a wolf, I'll tell you that much.
All right. That's true.
Baby wolves
See, you
are
want
cubs.
to cut away from this tangent.
Okay.
I'm going to just update the title of the show real quick. Baby wolves are cubs. We're educational content now.
Apparently, carnivorous mammals are known as cubs.
So.
Didn't know that.
Okay. Now we do.
But my dog eats meat. But it's I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyways. I'm excited about this like kind of board buffy beast druid situation we have got going on in the set.
Yeah. Heart of the Wild, I think it's... we have Mark of the Wild, which is 2 mana +2/3/+3 and taunt. So this is... you have to have a lot of beasts for this to be relevant. I do want to see a world where we have a bunch of beasts, and then we solar eclipse our Heart of the Wild, and then we kill our opponent. I think that would be enjoyable. I'd enjoy that. And Claw Fury Adept, people have been losing their minds over this card, but I mean, it's solid. It's a flame juggler where you choose where the ping goes, and if you have a wider board, then yeah, you get some better trade to do a little bit of extra damage. It's good. It goes in the deck. Really, Frostsaber Matriarch is the card that I'm building backwards from because I want that to be as cheap as possible, as often as possible. We have learned something that is a rule in Hearthstone that you should never ignore is that if you look in an expansion and there is a 7-mana card and it's a minion and it says costs 1 less, assume it's busted. Just assume it's completely insane.
7 mana, does it just turn out that is just the sweet spot for cost reductive cards? That if it was 8, it would take too long to reduce it? Because that seems like kind of a too wide of a statement to make, right? Because with Frostsaber Matriarch, granted, we already talked about this card, but it's worth mentioning again, like, it's only costs 1 less on beasts. So it's like your mileage varies on how many beasts you can effectively play. And yet, 7 does seem to be historically that sweet spot for these types of cards.
Like Mogu Flesh Shaper, 7 mana, costs 1 less for minions. Blood Boil Brute, 7 mana, costs 1 less for damage minions. Did just fine. Paid 0 for that card a lot. Thanks, Risky Skipper. What I've learned is that every time I see something with that stat line, oh yeah, Corridor Creeper, that was a good one. 7 mana, costs 1 less. Every time I see that stat line, I see 7 mana. Cost 1. I just assume it's going to be busted. Just assume it. So far, so
there
good.
were other things going on around the time of Corridor Creeper, but Corridor Creeper wasn't helping the case of anything.
No. Or Mogu Flesh Shaper. Did you enjoy playing against that card? I sure didn't.
No, No, it did not.
or whatever that card evolved into. But yeah, I like the beastie stuff that's going on here. I also think that the two choose one cards we have here, Pathmaker and Pride Seeker. I have been convinced on these cards. Pride Seeker is the 3 mana 2/4 battlecry. Your next choose one card costs 2 less. It doesn't say this turn, it's forever. So if you play this on turn 3, Nourish for mana on turn 4, Overgrowth except the mana crystals are full, pretty insane. And Pathmaker, which is cast the other choice from the last choose one spell you've cast. A friend that I like in a different Discord I was in, they were theory crafting. They made a tokeny Druid deck with Pride Seeker, Pathmaker, and see if you remember this card, Runic Carvings. Do you remember Runic Carvings?
I'm Googling in the background.
Yeah, it's the split the I think this is also Darkmoon Races. 6 mana Druid Shaman card. Summons 4 2/2s.
It was a
They
split.
have
Yeah, you are correct.
Yep. It's either 4/2/2 Treant Totems or 4/2/2 Treant Totems with Rush and Overload 2. Skullomance, I'm being told in chat. Imagine you go Pride Seeker on 3, Runic Carvings on 4, even with Rush, then Pathmaker on 5, and get the other 4 2/2s. That's a lot of stuff.
That's scary Druid board presence. That's what that is.
That's a lot. So I don't know how much of that is pie in the sky dreaming big, but I also don't know how much of that could be a really gross board out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, and even kind of very specific combos aside, like Pride Seeker and Pathmaker, those are just strong effects. Like I could see these working in any generation of Druid. Pick any meta, and Druid probably want these cards.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of deck we're building around these, but I'm excited to try a bunch of stuff. And yeah, the beastie stuff looks relevant too. We didn't talk about the legendary either. What do you think of this legendary?
Wing
Commander
Commander
Mulverick.
Mulverick, which is a 4 mana 2/5 legendary Druid minion with Rush, and your minions have honorable kill. Summon a 2/2 Wyvern with Rush. Does the Wyvern that comes off of the honorable kill also have honorable kill? Summon a 2/2 Wyvern with Rush.
It's an aura that applies to every minion you have.
That is bonkers.
So it's not like this is this is not a spray paint. Yeah, so like if they have a bunch of 2/2s, no, they don't, because it's just they just
if they have
go
a bunch
away.
of anything 2s, doesn't have to be a 2/2. This is a weird one. I don't know. I think it plays more to what we started talking about, which was like going wide on the board with like Claw Fury Adept and whatever wants to play Heart of the Wild and buff up, right? Because the Wyverns are beasts themselves, so it plays into this Heart of the Wild beast synergy. I think it fills in a gap like of when you're playing these token-based board buffing druids, it's Druid, they struggle at controlling the board, and what really feels bad is when you have to sack your board to get back in the game and maybe deal with a few meaty taunts, right? And so Wing Commander Mulverick really helps that not feel as bad. Also, at the price of only 4 mana, it doesn't seem that bad to me.
This is like a Druid Rancor, right? They're trying to give Druid AoE. The real question here, and this is a much larger question, how easy is it to pull off honorable kill? And I think it is one of the most difficult mechanics to evaluate ever because we've never played with something like this. And when we're used to killing something, it's either dead or not dead. Sometimes you have to set up Mortal Coil, but when you're doing Touch of the Nathrazim, for example, it's 2 or 1 health. This has to be exactly 2 health, right? So if your opponent has a bunch of 2/3s or a single 2/3 taunt in the way, then your Wyvern dies and that's it. So I don't know what the board states are going to look like with this card. I could see this being unplayable. I could also see this being insane. It depends on what early boards look like, but it also depends on how easy is it to guarantee honorable kill. And I don't know how easy it's going to be. And it tends to my instincts are that this mechanic gets much worse the later in the game you go and the bigger the chunks of damage are. So this is a small chunk of damage, but turn 4 is pretty late for mini combat-y things. I don't know if we can guarantee this. If we can, this could potentially be 4 mana, consecration with a 2/5 attached. Like, it's pretty good. And this has rush itself too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. The jury is still out on honorable kill.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to say, right? Because, like, Xaxes is something that we try and get, but there are so many times when we overtrade just a little bit just to get something off the board. I don't know if I have to trade exactly, I don't know what that's going to look like because I'm used to being able to just kill things and be happy about it. If I can kill things and somehow not feel happy about it, I don't know if I play the card.
That is a very good point. There's a psychological aspect there that I think is tied to, is this card objectively good as well?
Yeah. It could be. Like, this could be just Druid AoE that we don't have, and that could be enough to have it see play. Or it could be ambitious Druid AoE. It ends up being 4 mana, deal 2 damage, and summon a 2/3, and that's not playable. We don't play that card.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, it's a good thing that Wing Commander, you bring up something that I don't think we talked about, which is the rush on Wing Commander himself that helps you massage life totals to try and get honorable kills. Because it's more your, like, the mileage varies on your current board state more than it does on the fact that you're summoning 2/2 wyverns. You want those as, I don't know, you kind of depend on I'm thinking those more as like what sticks after you've lost board presence. But again, it's like they don't need to die to secure honorable kill. They just have to do exact damage. This is a mind bender the more I think about it.
Yeah.
And like, I almost want
not
the
mind bender, Garrett.
Well, sorry, what was that?
I was about to segue, but you talk first.
Yeah. I was gonna say I almost want their objective now to just be like a damage aura that lasts 3 turns, like
Demon Hunter.
Yeah, try and get more damage out.
But remember, more damage can be worse.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. I'm just thinking about, Wing Commander is 4 mana. I would probably want to combo this with some sort of damage increasing spell. This is probably happening a little bit later. I don't know. It's
interesting.
Now you have me thinking about Joust. Now I'm thinking about like things that didn't land.
Joust, okay.
Inspire
I can
and
confidently
Joust.
say
Those are in my mind.
Okay, so first of all, I can confidently say this is better than Joust. Second of all, Inspire did land. They just had to stop calling it Inspire. You know, it was one of the best cards that Hunter had for a year and 3 months. Phase Stalker, Dragonbane. Think about how good Phase Stalker and Dragonbane were. Awesome cards, really good.
Can we talk about the distance of time it took though to go from Grand Tournament to seeing cards like that again?
And also, they're better at making cards now. Because if you make cards that suck and you build a set around them, then the set sucks. And Inspire is not the kind of mechanic that you want your entire set to be based on because it's so inherently snowbally, especially the original implementation of just like when you hero power, you get stuff. But when you're pulling secrets out of your deck, you're limited by how many secrets are in your deck. You only want to build to include a few. Something like Dragonbane is very snowbally, but it's meant to, and the body isn't meant to survive. It's just 6 mana burn spell, so you remove a lot of that conditionality. It's possible to tune these mechanics. There are very few unfixable mechanics that you can't address when you have Baku and Gen. You got to kick them out of the format and make wild deal with them because you can't fix them. But you can tune, Inspire, and all that. And really, Honorable Kill is a tuned version of Overkill. Overkill cards were big, clunky cards with big, flashy effects to mitigate the inefficiency. Honorable Kill cards are inherently efficient because it's an efficient way to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Honorable Kill feels like the fixed version of Overkill, but it's very difficult to evaluate and say for sure, and maybe it won't land at all, or maybe it does get there. If HK is good, it's because Blizzard got what they wanted, Team 5 got what they wanted of making a minion-based metagame. And I really hope they succeeded. I really do.
It's going to hurt some brains for sure. I definitely think I like it more in a class like Druid that has a hero power that inherently lets you, again, massage those life totals. But
they've had a hard day.
Those life totals have had a hard day. Yeah, that doesn't work at all because you're trying to kill them. perfectly. Anyways, you want to take a quick sponsor break?
I do. Honorable kill, I don't know how it sounds, but what I do know sounds good.
Raycon earbuds?
I was gonna say that. How did you know?
Well, because I have them and I use them daily. And also, they're sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. So
Isn't that a coincidence?
You should probably go check them out over at buyraycon.com/TAC and use the code HOLIDAY. I'll tell you why in just a moment. But I'm sure by now you've seen thousands of gift guides out there, trying to get you clicks. They're baiting your clicks. Gifts for moms, gifts for guys, girls, kobolds, cranky Hearthstone players. You name it, you've probably seen a gift guide list for them. You could study all of those gift guides. You could shop at 10 different places. You could have FOMO because today, the day we're recording this, is Cyber Monday. Or you could just go start at Raycon. And you can just get a gift that everyone will use, which are Raycon wireless earbuds. Seriously, I've got mine sitting right here because I use them every darn day. Come on, focus camera. There you go. Look at that, video listeners. Video watchers. And yeah, they're great. I use these things like crazy. Been getting a lot of mileage out of them since I've had lectures to listen to, and I don't want to bore my wife to death. I've been back in school for a year now. I've just been using them a ton. They give you amazing audio quality wherever you go, and they're useful for anyone on your list, and also they're good for you. You can just get yourself a present right now. You are maybe an adult. There's no one that can tell you when you need to get yourself a gift. So go check them out. They're also available in 5 stylish colors. There's also free shipping and returns, so that makes gifting pretty darn easy and convenient. So again, it's
Who would want to return these? Who would want to do that?
It's just a nice peace of mind. I have Control F returns a lot this week. Because I'm like, I need to worry about return policies. So it's good. It's in there. Anyways, holidays are coming up faster than you think. Now is the time to knock out that gift list and avoid the last-minute shopping scramble, especially right now. TAC listeners, you're going to get 15% off site-wide with code HOLIDAY at buyraycon.com/TAC. Go to buyraycon.com/TAC and use the code HOLIDAY today to get 15% off your entire Raycon order. Again, that is buyraycon.com/TAC with the code HOLIDAY. We thank them for their support. And now I'm going to just go listen to Holiday on my Raycon earbuds. That's what I'm going to do.
Billy or other?
Joe or Joel?
A lot of holiday options.
I'm going to go with the one with the red tie. And also, I'm going to go with the hero that goes face. Let's talk about Hunter. Which actually, we're going to be talking less about face and more about hushed secrets. Because we finally know what the hell is going on with Hunter's secrets. But let's get some other cards out of the way, shall we? Like maybe we talk about this common Mountain Bear. We haven't talked about Mountain Bear yet. And really, all I want to do is talk about the Mountain Bear Cub.
It's a little bear, and this is a cub, Chicago style. It's a Chicago cub.
It is Chicago style. That's a great way to put it. Anyway, Mountain Bear is a 7-mana 5/6 common Druid beast with taunt and Death Rattle. Summon 2/4 cubs with taunt. Well, there you have. That's a lot of mana for things I don't normally like doing in Hunter.
This is okay. So, Death Rattle Hunter is something that just has gotten the most half-hearted support in the world. There is another card in the set that I think is just a good card that has a Death Rattle on it. This card gets the dubious honor of being called an arena card. Probably good an arena card.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's and listen, it's a 5/6 with 2/4s inside of it. I wouldn't want to play against this, but I think everyone was surprised this wasn't a Druid card.
It sure looks like one.
Yeah, except it's green.
Yeah, I just want to take it into
green.
Photoshop and drag that hue slider around until that green border is brown. I don't know what it'll do to the rest of the card. It won't look great, but you get the idea.
Yeah. So the one that I'm more excited about is Storm Pike Battle Ram. because this card, this is a much better deal because it doesn't have to be a death rattle card, right? There have been some cards that are just like, this is meant to go in a deck that has the word death rattle all over the place. This is a 4 mana 4 attack rusher that cheats mana in your next beast. Cool. We can do that. I don't need to be working that hard to make this good. I can get a cheap Moonfang or Trampling Rhino or something like that. Or we can pick a different beast to put in the deck. We can just play this and it's a reasonable cost and it gets me some mana back. Okay.
Yeah. 2 mana exact death rattle, your next beast costs 2 less. It's a good effect. It's effective. It's good on curve. I have nothing more to add either. I think it's just a solid card.
We don't put this in Face Hunter, but we're looking at we're allowing ourselves to dream of a slower hunter.
Yeah, I still don't think that I'm discounting 2 off of Mountain Bear and feeling good about it, but I might be discounting 2 off of anything else and feeling good about it.
Yeah.
Rhino's still in the game.
Yeah. We're gonna notice that card's continuing presence for a little while longer.
Oh yeah.
A little while longer.
Oh yeah. Yep. Anyways, let's talk secrets. We have one more secret to talk about before we talk about the hero card, which is all about secrets. And that is Ice Trap, a 2 mana epic hunter frost trap. Well, secret. When your opponent casts a spell, return it to their hand. Instead, it costs 1 more. This seems oddly familiar.
Feel about this?
I think it's really clever. And I haven't thought too much about it. I kind of went, that's clever, and it counters the other thing my opponent can do. So I like it.
So, Garrett, I don't know if you know this. There's a legendary hunter weapon in the Darkmoon Faire set. Do you remember what it is?
Are you talking about the card I was right about?
I don't know if that's come up on the show before. Just remind me which card that was.
Yeah. So I went to bat for a card called Rindling's Rifle, and everyone told me I was crazy. And it turned out to be one of the greatest weapons ever printed for Hunter.
So Garrett, I want you to think you're against a handlock. Let's assume they've used the coin already, right? Let's just throw that out there. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they have. Let's say you equip that Rindling's Rifle. You've got a few minions on board, and you get your Ice Trap. And they want to soul rend you. How does the rest of that game go for that handlock?
It goes exactly how I would like it to go for the handlock.
Yeah, they die. Because you Ice Trap the soul rend back in your hand, and then you hit them. And then the next turn, you hit again and you get another free Ice Trap, and then you play stuff. And they play the soul rend again, and it goes back to their hand, and then you hit them, and then they die. So,
what you're trying to say is that I was prophetic with Rindling's Rifle.
Yes, but also it was good right away. It's just more gooder now.
I like that. I'll take it.
Yes. Ice Trap is a card. You play this. I don't know if we hard run it, but I feel like you could hard run it in proactive Hunter decks. You can't put this in a slower deck. You don't put this in Quest Hunter, right? This is in Face Hunter if you're playing it at all. Because it's like Oh My Yogg in Aggro Secret Paladin, where you use it with Sword of the Fallen or you use it just playing it to keep your opponent off balance quickly. And the important part is having multiples of these early on. And there are a lot of ways to draw secrets now. If you want to play Dunbalder Bunker like we talked about. If you get multiples of these in the early game, your opponent is completely off balance and all of their answers are unlikely to stick, and that means they take damage and die. That's quite strong. Now, this costs 2 and not 1. That's a bit bigger investment. Face Hunter already has a pretty tight deck list. I don't know how it's going to play out. I do know that Rindling's Rifle for the next 4 months is going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think cards like this, because you brought up the coin, do you think this brings up conversations on the Hearthstone team about whether they should reconsider coin being a spell or not? Because there's always that caveat of spell counter being like, unless they have the coin. That's in every conversation about any spell counter in Hearthstone.
Good. It's what you want in card games is dynamic replayability. You want similar situations to have increased player agency and to be slightly different each time. If I do something when I'm going first and you have the coin, it plays out differently than when you're going first and I'm a little bit more behind, but I have the coin. That's good for the game. I don't want this to always play out the same way because if my opponent's ice trap always blows me out whenever I'm trying to not die, that is not a fun experience. But sometimes I can coin first instead, and I feel so clever and smart and brilliant. And also, something that Hearthstone players tend to do is whenever there is a play pattern they don't like, or whenever there's an experience they have that's poor, like losing a game, they identify a core game mechanic that needs to be changed forever because of this one thing that happened this time, or that happened multiple times this expansion, and it usually doesn't need to happen. It's cool for these things to be different, and sometimes your secret doesn't get as much value and it's actively bad for you. That's good for the game, even though you might be upset that you lost that particular game, because when you play a card and invest resources into it, that investment has to have the up and the down, these range of emotional experiences, to be interesting. Because if you always pay the same amount of mana and you always get the exact same thing back, cool. But I don't play card games for the same thing to happen every time. So I like that sometimes this isn't good enough because I don't want this card to be completely broken all the time. That's not what I'm looking for.
I feel like that went in directions I wasn't necessarily asking for, but that was fascinating.
Hey, I'm glad you liked it.
All right. Let's get to the cherry on top of the Hunter Sunday, which is Beast Stalker Tavish. The answer to the secrets we've been trying to uncover over the past 2 weeks of card reveals. So Beast Stalker Tavish is a 6-mana legendary hunter hero card with a battle cry Discover and cast 2 improved secrets.
Ooh.
And then also, my God, there's so many things here. Gives you the hero power Summon Pet, which costs 3 mana. So we talked about Demon Hunter. Kurtris has a cheaper hero power. Tavish has a more expensive hero power, but Summon Pet for 3 mana summons an animal companion. These are the classic animal companions you know and maybe love, like Huffer, Leok, and Misha, exactly as you've always known them. I think it's a good hero power. I'm interested in it. Doesn't always go face unless it's always Huffer, which it usually is always Huffer. But what I'm more interested in...
3 times it's always Huffer.
What I'm always interested in is all of these damn improved traps. There's so many of them. So there's improved Explosive Trap, where it deals 3 damage to all enemies. Improved Freezing Trap makes the returned minion cost 4 more. Improved Snake Trap summons 2/2 snakes instead of 1/1s. Pack Tactics summons 2 3/3 copies. The improved Open the Cages. You summon 2 animal companions if you control 2 minions. I actually don't remember Open the Cages off the top of my head. Is it if you control 1 minion or you control 2? The regular version.
This is double the companion, same requirement.
Same requirement. Okay, cool. Improved Ice Trap, which is a trap we just freaking talked about. So they put improved stuff in here for brand new secrets, which is where the return spell is going to cost 2 more instead of 1 more. We also got an updated snake token because now they're 2/2s. They don't look any buffer.
That's
to me,
a
though.
big snake. I don't know.
They should have done like bigger art. Like if nothing else, just cropped in on it.
So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and you'll notice all the minion secrets got crazy buffs, and all the non-minion secrets got like 1 more number on the card. Like Freezing Trap, I think, is actually doubled, but Explosive is 3 damage instead of 2, and what's the other one? Ice Trap it costs 2 more instead of it costs 1 more. And Ice Trap is very specifically designed so that whatever I bounce back into your hand, you can play it next turn. But Improved Ice Trap does not feel the need to do that.
No, although, again, this is off the back of a 6-mana hero card, and you only get to Discover and cast 2. So there's a pretty good chance, even with a 2-mana addition to the cost of your spell, that you're going to be in a position where you'll be able to play it. Not always, but I think more often than not.
This is still like, if I have a board when I play Tavish here, I can't imagine losing that game, right? You just pick a couple of these. It's the best ring toss in the universe. I just can't imagine losing that game. The next turn you start off with an animal companion. 2 out of 3 times it'll affect your board. It's either a Huffer, because it's always Huffer, or it's a Leok, and then you attack for more. Your board's almost invincible. Improved pack tactics is bonkers, insane, crazy. Right? Like it's 2/3/3 copies of whatever they attack is so dumb. It's or you open the cages and then you hero power, and that's a Call of the Wild. That's 3 animal companions. That's so many.
Yeah, all of these. Like I don't even know why, but I'm stoked about 1 more damage on Explosive Trap. Like it makes it more impactful. And they're
because more damage is better. It's Hunter.
Yeah, and you get to discover that, right? Like, so you don't necessarily need to choose from this. So, like, choose Explosive Trap if it comes up, but you may find yourself in a scenario where it is exactly what you need.
Yeah, you could. This card doesn't work all that well in Quest Hunter because it really doesn't synergize well with all of the various quest stages, so it's a different deck. I don't know if we put this in Face Hunter. Biggest question is where this goes. Powerful effect. Powerful hero power. Just don't know what we do with it.
That's also how I'm feeling. I think this card will find a home. I don't know if it's this set. I realize we got a lot of secret love. But Tavish doesn't really care because Tavish brings his own secrets to the party. And they're just good in their own right.
And they're not new, but definitely improved.
Well, yes. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you still get your buffs on Ram Tamer, but like Spring the Trap isn't doing anything with Tavish. Dunbalder Bunker isn't doing anything with Tavish.
I think we're doing just fine.
I think that's fair. Let's talk about Mage, where we have talked about a good deal of the cards, but there's a few left we haven't discussed, like Shivering Sorceress, a 1-mana 2/2 common mage minion with a battle cry that reads, reduce the cost of the highest cost spell in your hand by 1. Because I know what you were thinking at home. Boy, I wish mages could discount more spells.
So this card's insane. This expansion is it kind of looks like the big Spell Mage expansion, but the best cards cost 1, 2, and 2.
Is that because a podcast called The Angry Chicken got to reveal Rune of the Archmage?
Are we doing the bid again? We're an hour in. We've got 6 classes left.
Simple question.
Yes, that was. Angry Chicken revealed it. Rune of the Archmage. Good card. You should play it. So, Shivering Sorceress. The thought here is that you include this in Big Spell Mage. That is true, but you also include this in other mages, like mages with other spells, like any spells. Like, holy crap, this card's insane. It's 1 mana 2/2 battle cry, add a coin to your hand. What are we doing here? Of course we're playing this card. You play this and the highest cost card in your hand is Incanter Slow. That's a 2-mana Incanter Slow again. Welcome back, baby. Welcome home. You do that with your Rune of the Archmage in your hand, which was on the Angry Chicken episode 443. One of the hosts is very handsome and has great hair, and the other one is me. And then it costs 8. That's fine. That's okay. You play this with Refreshing Spring Water. You're gonna need that nerf. You play it with Firebolts, a 3-mana Fireball. Do whatever you want. It's crazy. Put this in decks.
It just seems always good. Always good. Just seems good. Play this card.
If Quest Mage still existed, rest in peace. I'm not upset. I'm glad it's dead. Then we would put this card in Quest Mage. I don't care about Refreshing Spring Water sometimes hitting it. You just play it on one and it's fine. It's okay. You just put it in mage decks. Just do it.
Would you like more discounts?
Yeah, I would.
All right. How do you feel about freezes?
Cool.
What about discounts and freezes attached to a 2/3 body for 2 mana?
I would do this.
Cool.
I would do that thing.
Well, then can I interest you in Amplified Snow Flurry, which is a 2 mana 2/3 common mage elemental with a battle cry that reads, your next hero power costs 0 and freezes the target. You're
also
next. Good. Again, you're next. It's like not your hero power this turn. Your next hero power. So you don't have to use it this turn.
Yeah. Good card.
We just talked about so many scenarios where I would really, really want to stop some Rinling's rifle shenanigans.
Oh, they can go face. So remember Burlock, which was the Shaman 2-mana 2/2 Burlock that frees the target?
How could I
This
forget?
does that, except it's a 2/3, and it banks that ability and deals 1 damage. All right.
Yeah, and it puts it somewhere where you're definitely going to deliver that freeze, which is on the hero power.
I also have trouble envisioning mage decks that don't run this, unless you have a really good reason to not run it.
Yeah, this is just a solid backbone of a deck minion for sure.
Yeah. And we've got some other card.
Yeah, we have some kind of random BS is kind of how I would call these other 2 cards. We haven't talked about Arcane Brilliance and we haven't talked about Mass Polymorph. Let's talk about Arcane Brilliance first. It's a 4-mana rare mage arcane spell. Add a copy of a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost spell in your deck to your hand. Again, these are spells that have to exist in your deck, and then you get a copy of them added to your hand that do not yank them from the deck. So you need to have spells of this cost currently in your deck.
There are listeners that I know we have, many of whom are in the Patreon Discord, where this is probably their favorite card in the set. It is so much value. If you like playing big mage spells and you like long games and you get into a match against somebody else like this and you get him with the 3rd copy of your Rune of the Archmage, you do you. You do it. You do that. And there are some people that are gonna have so much fun playing this card. I don't think that it's tuned for competitive viability, because what defines competitive formats is what is not how fast the fastest deck is, how fast the slowest deck is that can be competitive. What are you being gate kept by? Right now, I think the idea is that your slower decks are being gate kept by the Demon Seed and by Tamsin Fatigue. Probably accurate, I think. And while I envision that'll get a nerf, there will be something else. There's always going to be something faster than add a copy of a 7, 8, 9, and 10. Quest Priest is like, I can race this. Quest Priest can probably race this. So, someone's going to have a ton of fun playing games with this and just making spells on spells and spells and their hand overflowing with value and doing all sorts of goofy stuff. And I am certain that we have multiple listeners where this is their favorite card in the expansion. But holy crap, this is greedy. So just make peace with the fact that if you're playing this, you're sacrificing some win rate because you want to have fun making copies of giant spells and then hoping you get to play them.
This is the type of card that makes me just yearn for any other type of limited format in Hearthstone, because it's the type of card that I want a scenario where I play this and I feel good about it. And I'm with you. I think this is one of the greediest cards I have ever laid eyes upon, and I don't think it's going to find an above 50% win rate home anywhere in constructed Hearthstone. And the way Arena is set up, you're never going to be able to build a deck, I think, that gets any use out of this card.
And the new Arena rotation, by the way, Alterac, Saviors, Kobolds, League of Explorers, Scholomance, Boomsday. Imagine thinking you have time to do this in one of the fastest Arena formats that I can think of that's coming up. A lot of 1s and 2s in Arena decks coming up.
Yeah. Oh, I want to play with this card, but I also like winning.
Yeah.
Mass Polymorph is the only other mage card we haven't discussed so far, and that's going to be a 7-mana epic mage arcane spell. Transform all minions, including your own, if you have them, into 1/1 sheep.
Okay. Why? I don't know. I guess it's good to have this in the format if we suddenly end up with Resurrect Priest Mirrors, but I can't envision a world where I put this in my deck and then win games because it was in my deck. Just can't. I don't know.
Listen, every once in a while, you need to not be excited when you turn over an epic.
I mean, I like the art.
The art is delightful. This is another Matt Dixon. This is a Matt Dixon. By the way, I could probably spend 20 minutes talking about how Shivering Sorceress is subtly one of the best pieces of Matt Dixon art.
There's a lot going on here.
It's really good. It's really good.
What is she holding?
I can't quite tell what she's. So the pink thing is one of those like warming water bladders for when you're sick. I don't know what's in the the left hand. But yeah, Shivering Sorceress needs to go lay down, get under the comforter and relax. Definitely has a cold. But it's very good art. We have a lot of cards to still talk about. Let's get into Paladin, where we still have 6 cards to discuss. We haven't talked about Vitality Surge, 2-mana common Paladin holy spell. Draw a minion, restore health to your hero equal to its cost. Seems okay. I'm unsure about this one.
Garrett, you are the Paladin player in this podcast. Tell me your feelings. Tell me how you feel about this.
I don't know how much I need card draw. I don't know. This is the type of thing. I don't love cards designed like this because I want to do it a little bit later so that I get more value out of the healing. But you run the risk of drawing your bigger bombs and not getting as much out of this.
You either care about the draw minion or the healing. If you want to play big Paladin, right? We look at Cavalry Horn. That is a card that is big Paladin. That is Skull of the Minari for Paladin, or Sigil of Reckoning.
Yeah, 5 mana, 3 attack, 2 durability, common Paladin, weapon, death rattle, summon the lowest cost minion from your hand.
Yeah. So if the lowest cost minion in your hand costs 8, then like you're happy. What we're looking at here, Paladin has a lot of draw all of a sudden. Vitality Surge, draw a card. Stonehearth Vindicator draws a spell that costs 3 or less. Imagine you play this into your Vitality Surge and you just drew a couple cards and gain some stuff. Like if you want to tear through your deck, you can probably do that. There's a lot of draw here. So Vitality Surge is just part of the critical mass there, and it happens to be some incidental healing, which is pretty nice in a cheaper spell sometimes. You're looking for Vitality Surge and something a little bit slower. Stonehearth Vindicator, I think you're probably just playing in a lot of different decks. You can get a Noble Mount and put it on here. It's a 4/2, drew you a card. You can get Day at the Fair. If it's turn 4, right, and you play this in a 1-mana card and then your 0-mana Day at the Fair, that's a full board. That's a lot of stuff. Because it sets it to 0 and then corrupts it, right?
Yes, but this is also like coming not that long after a card like Alliance Bannerman, which develops as it draws and does good things off of the draw that isn't just healing.
Yeah. So Surge, I'm less high on.
Yeah, I find Vitality Surge very difficult to get excited about.
But Stonehearth Vindicator, pretty happy about Stonehearth Vindicator.
Yeah, because it's a minion. Like minions do things, even with 1 health. A 1 health minion does more things than draw heal.
It's a minion, and a card draw, and mana sheet. That's the trifecta right there.
Yeah. That's pretty damn good.
And what if this drew you a Hold the Bridge?
That would be very exciting. So Hold the Bridge is 3 mana. Yeah. 3 mana spell in Paladin that they're getting. It's give minion +2/+1 and Divine Shield. It gains lifesteal until end of turn. I can definitely think of scenarios where you draw that off of Stonehearth Vindicator and you cannot attack this turn, and so that lifesteal feels kind of bad. But you're still getting +2/+1 and Divine Shield for your trouble.
We've done worse. Yeah. I think that looking at what Paladin's doing here, Paladin has been, I think, my least favorite class for a while, because I always felt it was kind of just like big dumb stats, right? And there have been times when it hasn't. There have been Paladin decks I've really, really enjoyed. The Ungoro had a couple of them because Sunkeeper Terran was amazing, but like Murloc Control Paladin, I loved Murloc Control Paladin. Menagerie Paladin, where you would curate and draw Primordial Drakes, really like that. But most of the time, Paladin just been kind of big dumb stats. They're going a different direction now. They have some spell school stuff going on. They have more draw than I think a minion class usually gets. and they still have some big dumb stats. And I'm okay with a few of them. I just
Yeah,
don't want it to be exclusive to
I'm
big
not
dumb
going to
stats.
defend that. You're not wrong. I like big dumb stats, and that's a big reason why I have liked Paladin, and I like minion based combat. And for a while now, it seemed like Paladin was one of the few that could force minion based combat because of its big dumb stats.
Yes.
So that's one of the main reasons I have been drawn to it time and time again. I will say I'm a bit bored with it at the moment. I don't want to play Librams anymore, even though Librams, I love them. They're some of my favorite. Like, buff spells have historically been very difficult to make work in Hearthstone. We found a way with Librams, but I'm over them now. So,
But
anyway.
what about if instead of Librams, you played a big dragon?
Oh, are you talking about Brasswing?
I sure am.
Brasswing is a big dragon. So Brasswing's a new Paladin dragon. 8 mana, 9/7. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies. Honorable kill. Honorable kill. Restore 4 health to your hero. So it's Consecrate baked into a 9/7 for 8 mana. With a potential upside, depending on... I'm assuming that Honorable kill... Wait, does Honorable kill proc off of...
It sure does.
Yeah, it's not minion specific. I hadn't really thought about that. Well, yeah, no, of course it's not, because it's also on weapons.
If the Consecration here kills minions, you gain health for each one.
Yes.
So, Primordial Drake had Taunt, and it hit all minions. And the Taunt was important. This doesn't have Taunt. However, this is a much bigger standalone threat. And it goes face, and it doesn't hit your stuff, and it can potentially heal you a bunch instead of having Taunt. I think a card that is in the Primordial Drake ballpark deserves attention. Maybe Hearthstone has changed just that much since Ungoro, but I remember in what was a pretty reasonably fast metagame with a lot of burn spells, Primo Drake was still quite competitive for quite a while. And this is close-ish.
Yeah, this seems good, question mark. Like, by itself, it seems really, really good. Whether it has a place in the deck, I'm not too sure.
I don't know about that one. I don't know where this goes, but that is kind of the question of Alterac. And what we're seeing here is they're trying to make new archetypes that you can build around these slower cards, because we can't think of putting them into these faster archetypes that have been built around really cheap cards the entire year. We're going to have to work backwards from where we want to end up.
Yeah.
So I don't
like,
know where this goes, but this is powerful.
Yeah, and we already talked about Templar Captain, which is also 8 mana, but I am significantly more excited about because it has Rush on an 8/8 body, and after it attacks, it summons a 5/5. So it's attacks. It doesn't have to kill. It doesn't have to honorable kill. It doesn't have to do anything but attack, and it has Rush. So that's why I think we were all much more excited about Templar Captain, like, immediately. I am excited about Brasswing, but for me, my mental jury is still out.
Yeah, that's any honorable kill card. We cannot evaluate till we play with them. We have no idea. But I like the idea of where Brasswing is going, and if that kills a minion or two, like, that's going to be pretty devastating. Because the thing is also enormous.
Yeah, no, it's potentially a huge swing, but again, it's like, yeah, we're kind of real unsure on those HKs. Let's talk about Priests. Got quite a few here. We haven't talked about Gifted the Naru, 1 mana epic priest spell, restore 3 health to all characters. If any are still damaged, draw a card. Is it dishonorable heal? Is that what this is?
It's kinda. And so it's important to specify as well. People had a misreading of this card. They thought that you drew a card for each still damage thing. That is inaccurate. It is either 0 cards or 1 cards.
Yeah, which makes me, again, kind of like trepidatious about this one. It's all characters, so I'm healing my enemy.
But this is still this still good. This still a good card. Like, it's a heal for our whole board. and it probably cycles. Insane and Miracle Priest. If there is a board-based priest, which I don't know if there is. If there is, then we play this. But just Circle of Healing, draw a card, fine.
It's a good way to look at it. You have a lot of control too,
Yeah.
right, over how much quote-unquote damage the healing to your enemies does. Like, probably don't want to play this with a full board on your enemy side of damage minions.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously if your opponent has a bunch of damage minions and then they don't die if you play this, then you don't play this. But I think it's much more likely to be half a Divine Hymn for your cards and also a Cycler. I think that's much more likely to happen.
Okay.
It's okay. But like the card people are going crazy over is Bless. Got to talk about Bless.
Yeah, that's a 2-mana rare priest holy spell. Give a minion +2 health, then set its attack to be equal to its health. How priesty.
Yeah. I mean, this is Inner Fire with a touch of Divine Spirit. Just a touch. Just a little.
Sure seems like a good combo with Gifted and Naru. You're very right there.
Yeah. Though what I want to combo with Bless is Shadow Word Devour. Shadow Word Devour. Yeah, right. It steals 1 health from all of their minions, which just it buffs up this one and then shrinks all the other ones. But the buffing the health of this thing, like have a snack and then bless up, pretty good. Could be a lot of damage. Could kill some people. I don't know.
I can see why you're focused on the question of, is there a board-based priest?
Because we want to kill people, Garrett. That's what we do here.
Yeah. Yeah, and with these spells, it sure seems like there'd be a board-based priest, but again, it depends on how slow does the meta really get, because priests are getting quite a few new minions, but as is the priest away, they're higher up on the mana curve, with one major exception, which is another card we haven't talked about yet, which is Luminous Geode, a 2-mana 1/4. After a friendly minion is healed, give it +2 attack.
So, okay, I should clarify. There probably isn't a board-based priest deck. And I know that we're looking at a board-based priest card right now. And we're supposed to be excited about it.
Are you about to say that if there is a board-based priest deck, this card is in it?
Yes. But if what I see here is a pattern I've seen before. There are just enough board-based priest cards in this expansion to debate people into trying it for a week. And then they lose. And then they delete the deck. I've been here. I've done this. Don't craft golden gifts of the Naru. Be careful. We've seen this story before. Without Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, and Norshire Cleric is the missing piece, really. Without the Norshire Cleric, you got nothing. I hope that they figure this out. But outside of Shadow Priest, which I still hope is good, it's, getting one good card here at least, the rest of the set seems to be mostly focused on big dreams and then death rattles.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're right on the money. There's just enough here to be interesting for board-based priests, but I am not convinced that there's actually a competitively viable board-based priest. But there's a mini set.
Well, board-based aggressive priest. I do think Spirit Guide.
Why does it have to be
allow you to create?
Why does it have to be aggressive though? If we're pretty sure we're staring down the barrel of a kind of a mid-range leaning control, or at least longer Hearthstone games. Why does it need to be aggressive?
Well, sure, it's like you can do that, but then you're not playing Luminous Geode. You're probably playing Gift of the Naru. You're not playing Luminous Geode. I'm not even sure you're playing Bless. If you want the game to go longer, there are plenty of ways to kill people late game right now. I don't think it has to be Bless. It could be. You could do that. But you could also play Zyrella and kill people with Mind Blast hero power. I like that. Press your button and then they die. I like that. And the card that I think that goes in there, the priest card, I think my favorite priest card from the expansion. Spirit Guide. 5 mana, 5/5 taunt, death rattle, draw a holy spell and a shadow spell. There are going to be games where I have this, or maybe I'm playing against this, and I attack into it, and it dies, and it draws my opponent Raise Dead Renew, and they raise dead it back and play it again, and then renew the health they lost from the raise dead, and then I kill it again, they do it again, and I'm gonna be annoyed. That is what I see in my future.
Being annoyed. Get ready for it. Hat 2021.
As priest intended. As priest intended. Or maybe they just draw their soul mirror and blow me out. I don't know.
Listen, I don't know. I think there's two brands of being real annoyed over the last year plus of Hearthstone, which is you're either really annoyed by priest or you're really annoyed by demon hunter. And on this show, we've had both represented for that entire time.
I think that both groups have kind of met in the middle of this expansion and been annoyed by mage.
That's fair. I liked playing mage, so it didn't get to me too much. And when it started to, I retreated to battlegrounds.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's nothing wrong with playing mage. I'm just saying that a bunch of people expressed to us as content creators, as we are, they didn't enjoy the experience of being maged. They didn't want mage to happen to them like a verb. It's a thing that occurred during their workday. It's like, oh, I got stuck in traffic, then I got maged. Ugh. Don't you hate when that happens?
Fair. A couple more priest cards we haven't talked about here. Deliverance, 3 mana, common, holy spell, deal 3 damage to a minion, honorable kill, summon a new 3/3 copy of it.
You feeling it? How you feel about this?
I like it with the caveat of honorable kill ?
Yes. I also have no interest in squealing like a pig.
No, not at all. This seems like an impactful way to do the kind of old minion steely priest.
I mean, you can try. I do think that honorable kill is probably a lot easier to do on direct damage.
Certainly
Probably.
seems like that would be the case.
Yeah, like you pick the thing that you want to take the 3, so that seems easier.
Yeah. Stormpig Aid Station is the objective for priest. It's a 3 mana rare spell. At the end of your turn, give your minions +2 health. This lasts 3 turns, like all objectives. More buffs for your questionable board-based priest.
And this one is extra questionable. See, the thing about the objectives, the way they work, they tick at the end of your turn. So the turn you play it ticks down once. That means you have 2 more turns to take advantage of this. This costs 3. Are you playing minion turn 1, minion turn 2, hope they live, play this on 3, they get bigger, play more minions, ? Because this being my entire turn 3 seems sketchy. Are we playing this late game, ? And at that point, giving all of my minions +2 health seems... Is that what I want to do with my time in a card?
I mean, it makes me feel better about just a naked casting Gift of the Naru. Because it's like, well, if my minions live longer, then they're getting even more +2 health. But, yeah.
My minions live longer if I kill their minions instead. I'll take this out and play removal so their stuff dies.
Yeah, well, listen. In an episode where we talked about Arcane Brilliance, I am not going to go to bat for fun greed on Stormpike Aid Station.
I think that this card is likely to be relevant in games you have already won.
I think this card is moving on to Spirit Guide. 5 mana, 5/5, common priest minion with
taunt. We talked about that guy.
We talked about Spirit Guide?
About this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This Death Rattle draw.
I couldn't hold myself back.
Yeah, Death Rattle draw a holy spell and a shadow spell.
Yeah, this card good. I think every slower priest deck exists because of this card. Getting raised deads, getting devouring plagues, getting soul mirrors, renews, condemns, whatever you want to get. Priest really struggles for card draw. Zyrella is now just a card advantage machine. I think this card's going to be really annoying.
I agree. I have a question about kind of all the rogue cards we haven't talked about yet. Is it because we're talking about this after Scabs, or are we kind of left with a random assortment of nonsense?
So the rest it's burgly kind of cards and Cold Tooth Yeti. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm Cold Tooth Yeti makes me excited. And I'm also very fearful of ever seeing it, and I think I'm going to, because Cold Tooth Yeti is a 3 mana 1/5 with combo gain +3 attack. So it's build a Yeti doing things Rogue already does.
I mean, pointing this out, turn 2 Yeti. That's like Innervate Yeti. Never forgetting Innervate Yeti. It's okay, maybe. I don't know.
It's gross. That's gross. It's okay, maybe.
Okay,
Listen, I realize it's 2021. Right, I'm pretty sure a turn 2 4/5 is still good.
It's good. Is it unbeatable? Is it unstoppable? Is it worth putting it in your deck? Is it okay later game? I don't know. I don't know these questions. When you look at 6-set metas, like the ones we're going into, think about the powerful decks we've seen in 6-set metas. Think about what Darkmoon Faire looked like at launch. Demon Hunter, both aggressive and so completely insane. Think about the aggro rogue deck we ended up with after Nitro Boost Poison was printed. Go back to DOD. Think about what Galakron Shaman was like on launch. Galakron Warrior, Galakron, whatever. It's you're dealing with a really, really synergistic, powerful decks. You're dealing with Whirl Kick Rogue. They don't play anything that costs more than 3, and they outvalue fatigue decks. That's the kind of world that we're going into. Just stats won't be enough. And something that I think is important to keep in mind, Unstable Shadow Blast is a very important card. Piercing Shot to a degree, but Unstable Shadow Blast. If you want to honorable kill things like Korak, Unstable Shadow Blast always honorably kills because it splits the damage. Same with Piercing Shot. Always honorable kills because it deals exactly as much damage as you need. So I expect to see more of that card. And if you're seeing more of those cards, a turn 2 4/5 just means my Shadow Blast only deals me 1. I'm not saying that everyone's going to be playing that, but removal is really, really strong right now. I am less convinced in the pile of stats. This could be a decent one. This could be fine. I could totally see an aggressive rogue deck playing this, and I would expect it to. But I'm not as excited by an early pile of stats that used to be.
I stand by it. I think you should be.
I'm going to try it out.
I think this in a deck that tops out its scabs. I think it's going to do well.
Yeah, well, sure. And the rogue deck that I want to play is Maestra Rogue because Double Agent and Wildpaw Knoll, the Burglary cards, the way it works with Maestra, after your opening hand and after the mulligan is done, any rogue cards you draw while you're wearing the mask count as from another class. So if I draw a rogue card turn 1 and turn 2, my Wildpaw Knoll is discounted twice. It's a 5-mana 4/5 rusher. It costs 1 less for each card you've added to your hand from another class.
Do you think that's going to be competitively viable?
It could be. I mean, if I go turn 1 trade Cutlass and I draw 3 rogue cards, then turn 2 I play a 4/5 rush. That's the Cold Tooth Yeti you were just excited about, except it has rush and you didn't have to use the coin. That sounds competitive.
Yeah, but you had a lot of
if I believe my co-host, which I do. If I believe my co-host, which I do.
That's not the if I want to focus on.
I'm just saying, if you think a turn 2 4/5 is good, how about a 4/5 with a rush? Huh? And then also, if you're still wearing the mask, you can double agent because all your rogue cards are from another class. It's active. Also, I want to point out, double agent. What does it do if you're holding a card from another class?
Summons a copy of it.
It doubles, Garrett.
Mm.
It's a double agent. It's 2 agents because it doubles. I didn't make that pun. The card made the pun. I just told you about it. It's 2 agents.
Thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome. What would you do without me?
Probably make a few more Archmage jokes.
If you want to do that, I'll lean back here, finish my beverage. You are welcome to cut.
All right. So in that short amount of time, we've talked about Cold Tooth Yeti, Double Agent, Wildpaw Knoll. Do you want to talk about Reconnaissance or Contraband Stash?
I think Raycon is good because Raycon discovers Death Rattle minion from another class. That means not neutral. class death rattles are good. Neutral death rattles not so good. So discovering only class death rattles, I think, could actually be interesting.
And it discounts it. So it discounts at the cost of casting Reconnaissance, so it discounts by 2. So there is that as well.
And then Contraband Stash looks fun, but no.
But it's like a big payoff for being a big ridiculous playing cards from other class rogue.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fun, but you can't choose anything going on here. It costs 5 mana. Probably not going to put this in decks. It could be enjoyable, but I'm probably not going to run it.
Yeah. Also, have you played 5 cards from other classes by the time you get to this? If you're trying to play it on curve, questionable. Shaman time. Let's see. We haven't talked about Wind Chill. 1 mana common Shaman Frost spell, freeze a minion, draw a card.
How did you feel when you first saw this card?
Not great, but then I also didn't feel great about drawing a minion and healing on Paladin for 2, so I think I feel better about this card for 1.
This seems insane, right? This is insane. That's crazy. It's really good.
I think it seems subtly good. I don't think it seems... It's a good card. It's not the type of card I get excited about.
We're wired differently. This is exciting to me. Because, I played Glacial Shard, right? You remember Glacial Shard?
Yes.
Imagine if instead of a 2/1, you drew a card. It's pretty good. Pretty strong. So hard running this, I'm less sure about. Sleepbreaker makes this a lot easier. Let's go look at Sleepbreaker real quick. Let's go look. I think this is probably the second best card in the set, I think.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about Sleepbreaker. There's so many blue elemental things going on. I'm getting them confused already. But this is the 2 mana 3/2 rare Shaman elemental. Battlecry, add a Wind Chill to your hand, which is what we just talked about.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. And also, Bolner exists. That's a lot of Wind Chills, a lot of freezy stuff. And this is an elemental, so it triggers your Gyre Worm. It gets cheaper from your Granite Forgeborn. It adds a Frost spell to our pool that we definitely want to play. And if I'm playing minions, and I don't want you to trade into my minions with your minions, we just tell them to chill out, and then that's pretty good. Draw some cards, find some burn, whatever. I don't know. I think that we're pretty close to hard.
Find another Sleepbreaker.
Yeah, I think we're really close to hard running Wind Chill, just because it's going to be so annoying to try and fight in the board against this deck. And if all of my opponent's minions are frozen, I don't have to worry about protecting my face. You can just maybe find a big old Doomhammer. You can just smack your opponent a little bit with it. Just give him a little love tap or 2. Or 8. Whatever. I don't know. Freeze their minions. Smash the face. Fun for the whole family.
It's fun for the Shaman family.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely excited about Sleepbreaker. Wind Chill is one of those... I feel like I need to quantify what I mean by I don't get excited about it. It's kind of the way you don't get excited about big dumb stats. I think this is kind of a small dumb spell. It's very straightforward.
Very spiky. Right? This is a spiky sort of thing. And if you think about it, Shaman has a ton of draw now. I think we're at the point we might cut Primal Dungeoneer. Because we have Wind Chill, we have Sleepbreaker, we have Cage Match Custodian. At the very least, we could get to the point where we're doing multicaster things. You could still play Primal Dungeoneer, but
gonna need to find...
You have so much draw.
Well, we have to find room for Sleepbreaker, right?
Yeah, Sleepbreaker is a must include, auto include, no matter what we're doing. This is going in, I think, every Shaman deck for a while.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think you're right on the money. If we're already, that sure seems to stick out like the slot that is getting freed up. And if we're removing card draw and replacing it with card draw, who would argue against that?
we have so much value now with Bolner. We still play Fire hard. It's not hard. You can actually build the deck with too much value now if you include Dungeoneer and Macaws, and you end up with more draw and not enough stuff. It's 6-set meta decks, especially in the mini set world. We're going to be cutting really good cards. Because 30 cards is not that many. We're going to be cutting really good cards from the decks. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dungeoneer might be one of them.
I think you're onto something there.
Oh,
I don't want to live in I don't want to live in a freeze world. Sorry, what were you going to ask?
What do you think about Frostbite? What do you think about that card?
Frostbite, that's the 2-mana common Shaman Frost spell, deal 3 damage, honorable kill. Your opponent's next spell costs 2 more. I'm really kind of just copy and pasting my uncertainty about most honorable kills, although as you pointed out, when it's on direct damage, worth more.
This goes face.
It does. It does go face.
You know what Elemental Shaman? You know what Elemental Shaman likes doing to the opponent, right?
Going face, and soon it's going to also like freezing them while they go face.
I recognize that this is an audio format show, and I'm just holding my hands up waiting for acknowledgement. It doesn't work that well. The honorable kill, if you get this going, it's a really powerful tax effect that's probably better than Cult Neophyte, because you can't wait this one out. If you got the coin in your hand, and I 2-mana deal 3 damage, that coin's not happening. We're gonna wait that one out, because it just waits until your next tax is paid. But also, if I just want to kill you, I have my Lightning Bolt and my Serpentine Portal. Well, this Frostbite is sure nice to complement those spells now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So, I don't know. I think just those 3 cards, just Windchill, Sleepbreaker, and Frostbite, make Shaman one of the stronger sets they've gotten. But they have a whole other 7 cards that are also here.
Yeah, and there's even more elemental business going on here. We haven't talked about Wildpaw Cavern, which is a 4-mana spell where at the end of your turn, you summon 3/4 elementals that freeze. In the last 3 turns, that's their objective. There's also Snowfall Guardian, which is a 5-mana 3/3 battle cry. Freeze all other minions, gain +1/+1 for each frozen minion. Also, it's elemental. I failed to mention that. There's going to be frozen things. Snowfall Guardian is going to proc on Frozen Face, which you might want to do depending on the scenario you find yourself in. But
Snowfall Guardian says minion.
Yes, that's why I said it doesn't proc off Frozen Face.
Doesn't. You said doesn't. Yes, I misheard you.
Yeah.
But still, like, and that's a different kind of Shaman-y card, right? Like, that's slower. This is not the Elemental Shaman deck we're talking about. It's pretty proactive, pretty aggressive, and this freezes your stuff, so you're not going to play this with 1/2s and 2/2s and 2/3s and whatever. It's going to be a different kind of slower Shaman deck, and I hope exists. And Glaciate, where it discovers an 8-cost minion. There aren't that many 8s in Standard. There are some pretty good ones, and if you get Alakir, he unfreezes at the end of that current turn.
Yeah. Coming out of the holiday break, Shaman was one of the classes I did not get a very good look at. And now that I'm sitting here, I haven't gotten a good look at it. It was really looking like the spoiler to the kind of bigger, slower minion-based combat that we've been talking about and optimistically looking forward to.
I think that they push Shaman. Like, you look at Shaman has 10 cards. It's got a hero card. Every other card has some interaction with the freeze mechanic. They are dealing with the freeze Shaman meme and putting it on ice. Huh?
We have 2 more classes to go through.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. You have to get a better pun. Better puns. Hey, you gotta reach higher.
All right. I'll chill. It's fine.
Let's just put this on ice. Warlock, Grave Defiler, 1-mana 2/1, common Warlock minion battle cry. Copy a fell spell in your hand. Do you want to copy fell spells, Hat?
I this is the third podcast set review I've done in 4 days. And each podcast, I ask this question, hoping that someone has the answer for me. What the hell is this fel stuff? What is happening? What are we copying? What are the fel spells that we're looking for? What are we doing here? I have looked up the fel spells in Standard. I have looked them up. I'm going to look them up right now.
Well, we're getting 3 new ones.
We are. So the fel spells that you can currently play in Warlock, there are 7 of them. No, we're getting 3 more. There are 10. Felfire in the Hole, it's one of the new ones. Demonic Assault, Dark Portal, Fiendish Circle, Full-Blown Evil, Imp Swarm, Seed of Destruction, Philosophy, Shadow Council, and Stable Felbolt. There's a questionable Consecration draw card. There's a targeted deal 3 summon 2 Voidwalkers. The Dark Portal, a sketchy draw spell. And then a bunch of random garbage that either removes or makes smallish boards. What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is how I was kind of feeling about Rogue without analyzing it too much, and I think you make a strong case for steal your shit Rogue. I do not have a strong case for what I look at as also kind of a random assortment of who the fel knows what with these fel spells.
No!
Yeah, see what I did there?
Garrett, I'm proud of you.
So the 3 new fel spells, I'm going to burn through them real quick for audio listeners. The Seeds of Destruction, 2 mana, shuffle 4 Rift into your deck. They summon a 3/3 Dread Imp when drawn. Full-Blown Evil, 3 mana, deal 5 damage, randomly split among all enemy minions. Repeatable this turn. I think that one's actually decent. And then Felfire in the Hole, 5 mana, draw a spell, and deal 2 damage to all enemies. If it's a fel spell, deal 1 more. I think Full-Blown Evil is the only good spell there.
Yes, and it's a good card. All right, 3 mana, minefield your opponent, echo. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, I guess we're, in our trying to justify Grave Defiler's existence, we have gone into trying to justify all fel spells' existence, and Full-Blown Evil is kind of getting trampled. It is a really good control tool.
And Grave Defiler is a good card, right? Like, it's 1 mana, 2/1. It's basically draw a card if you have a fel spell. It copies a removal spell. That's cool. But the vast majority of the fel spells are either unplayable, and the ones that are playable are support. Right? If you copy an unstable Felbolt, okay. You copy a Full-Blown Evil, fine. Copy Demonic Assault, that could be good. Sometimes you copy Philosophy for some kind of combo-y purpose, I'm sure. But there's no strategy here. There's maybe a minor value engine, but there's no strategy that leads towards winning a game of Hearthstone.
I agree.
So we
didn't even talk about
we also in the mini set.
Yeah, and we also didn't talk about Felwalker, and this can kind of just like close the book on Warlock, because Felwalker is a 6 mana 3/7 taunt battlecry, cast the highest cost fel spell from your hand.
Which of these things do we want to cheat out?
I just want Full-Blown Evil in my control-based deck, and if I am really depending on it, I put in Grave Defiler. But this is Warlock; they have other control tools. I'm not sure I really need to copy Full-Blown Evil, a spell that when I really need it, I can cast more than once in a turn anyway.
I don't know what we're doing here. And so that means this is clearly some kind of prelude to something we haven't seen yet. Don't know if it's in the mini set, don't know if it's next year or whatever. They want us to care about fel spells for some reason. I look forward to knowing what that reason is. I don't know now. Nobody will know on launch. And also, just a shout out, I think Seeds of Destruction is probably the worst card in the set. I think it's probably the worst card in the set. It's 2 mana, shuffle 4 Rifts into your deck, which each summon a 3/3 Imps when drawn. I will point out, the Imp's been working out. He's jacked.
Yeah, what else summons that? Was that
Tammy?
Oh, yeah,
Dread Tammy.
The hero card. Yeah, because we already talked about these Dread Imps.
Yeah. But so Seeds of Destruction, it doesn't draw you a card. Shuffles in 4 Rifts, and then that's it, and then you're done. And why am I doing that?
Man, it's in the theme of what's going on with Tamsin, and it is worth like remembering that the hero power you get off Tamsin shuffles a Rift in, but also draws a card. So you're not staving off, just drawing yourself to death. So something like Seeds of Destruction could help you do that. I just don't believe that that's a winning strategy.
Well, and also, because they're cast when drawn, when you draw them, you get closer fatigue by an extra card, so it doesn't actually stave anything off. It just gives you more stuff for churning through the deck.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Yes, you are correct.
So, it doesn't draw you a card when you play it, doesn't give you anything when you play it, and then it lets you draw a bunch of okay minions that don't even have Rush. Okay? Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. No dice. No dice. Shall we bring it home with the warrior cards we haven't discussed yet?
Let's do it. Let's talk about some bread cards.
Sound like I said bread cards, and now I'm hungry. Ice Blood Garrison. We haven't discussed. This is the objective for warrior. It's going to cost you 2 mana. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all minions, and it lasts, as you would expect, 3 turns. Do you want an objective-based whirlwind?
Maybe. Probably not. But I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say maybe. It's the objectives are also a new mechanic. It's hard to evaluate. This could be annoying. Like, I can absolutely see worlds where I'm playing some kind of go wide deck, and I've got a peasant and a guardian augment or something in my hand, and my opponent has this up, and like I want to play stuff, and then I just look and it's like, well, it's just gonna die. I can see that happening. This could be annoying. I don't know where this goes now, and Warrior does not currently have any issues removing minions.
No, and
But I'm
also
not ready to write this card off.
It's not like they're getting a bunch of Enrage has been removed, but Enrage-esque tools either in this set. So
this is Frenzy support.
That's fair.
But I mean, I guess Frenzy needs a lot of support. We haven't seen a ton of it, but
I don't think we're going to see more of it, and I definitely don't think that Ice Blood Garrison is the card that gets it there.
There could be worlds where we play this card, but I am having trouble picturing them at the moment. I've got some weird cards in Hunter here, or in Warrior. I said Hunter. I've got some weird cards in Warrior. Look at To the Front. To the Front is not. I didn't envision this being a Warrior card.
So this is the 2 mana warrior spell where your minions cost 2 less this turn, but not less than 1. There's a lot of mana cheating going on in like damn near every class.
But what does Warrior do here? Like, I know people are very excited about very ambitious Captain Galvangar combos, and that could happen here. I think the most exciting part of this card is that it's a constructed card that says, but not less than 1. People have been asking for this for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a really fascinating tool that, like, these types of effects scare me, even though it has that modifier, it has that parenthetical of not less than 1. These types of turn-wide discounts can be powerful. And they're difficult things, I think, to foresee in the preview period of a new expansion.
This is the card that deck builders love to see, so I'm happy they printed it. Because I am skeptical that it will be broken, but I am certain a lot of people will try it and have fun in the process, and that makes me happy.
I think between now and when this set rotates out of Standard, we are going to see this card find a home. That's as cement of a statement as I feel like making about To the Front.
That's fair. And also, you look at the next card here, Glory Chaser, which is the World Championship card. It's a Glory. This is a card as a tribute to Glory, the player. You could easily have a turn where you do To the Front and then play this for 1 mana, and then play a bunch of taunts and draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, so Glory Chaser, 3 mana, 4/3. After you play a taunt minion, draw a card. Yeah, that could pop off, and that seems more realistic than other combos you mentioned when we were discussing To the Front.
Actually, wait. So, and the next card after this, Scrapsmith. Hold on, this vision is coming together in my head as we're talking about it.
Another 3 mana 2/4 taunt battlecry. Add 2 2/4 grunts with taunt to your hand, and those grunts cost 3 mana. So if any of this is happening on a To the Front turn, all of these minions cost 1 mana, but you have to cast 2 mana to get there in the first place.
But so if you go turn 6, To the Front, Glory Chaser for 1, Scrapsmith for 1, and then the 2 Battlecry minions for 1. You played a 4/3 and 3/2/4 taunts and drew 3 cards.
That
Okay.
seems really
Okay.
good.
I'm thinking about that. I kind of want to do that to people. I kind of want that to be me doing that thing.
Yeah, I don't think To the Front Glory Chaser is a big ask, and Glory Chaser is going to draw your Scrapsmiths potentially. Don't know if there's any other taunt you're considering putting in that deck.
Like, I don't know if that's a game winner, right? Like, I don't know if that's a thing that wins me a game, but I want to do it. And I bet that you can put other cards in your deck that maybe win you the game. I don't know. I'm gonna think
Warrior
about it.
has some cards they can put in their deck right now that can win games.
It does. Wait, which card?
I mean, the Juggernaut's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah, that card. That Warrior Quest thing. Card's pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see a lack of very specific Brian Kibler quotes anytime soon? Or quotes, tweets?
He has scheduled them out for quite a while, so I'm guessing that those are going to keep firing off. It's a fun part of my morning. It's I usually work 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On the weekdays, and he has those scheduled for 10:44 a.m. my time. So I know when it's time to get ready to open up the building. When that Kibler tweet crosses my timeline.
Like, oh hey, it's time to go do that thing now.
Yes.
Well, that's great. We also haven't talked about Axe Berserker, 4 mana, 3/5 rush, honorable kill, draw a weapon. I like honor. Again, I'm still not completely sold on honorable kill, but I do like it more on rush. So
4 mana 3/5 rush that sometimes draws a card would have been a good deal in the Witchwood when they first printed rush. But I cannot envision putting this in a deck.
I don't think it's terrible in a vacuum, but yeah, when we're talking about the power levels of the things that we have discussed over the past 3 weeks, I don't think this,
It's if you could rely on this to draw you the weapon and it was your draw engine, then sure, but you can't. So that means that you're playing a 4 mana 3/5 quite often, and I don't want to do that.
I think that's fair. Also, we're really excited about Unstoppable Force as a weapon, and that is off a hero card that we're not going to draw off Axe Berserker. So
that's correct.
Yeah. The only other warrior card we have not discussed is Shield Shatter, which is a 10 mana warrior spell. It's a frost spell. Deal 5 damage to all minions. Costs 1 less for each armor you have.
So this is gonna not cost a lot quite often. And I think about what Warrior has as far as removal. Warrior has a lot of small pingy AoEs right now. Your man the cannons and your minefields and your blade storms and whatever. And blade storm can be big, but often it's quite small.
Well, you play
Barov is
play Frozen Buckler, and you don't need to worry about this mana cost.
Yeah. Or there's so many ways to gain armor with your cargo plates or cargo guards and heavy plates. Cargo plate, that's not a thing. There are a lot of ways to gain enough armor for this to be a reasonably costed thing. If you hero power with it, the hero power is free. And 5 damage is a big chunk, is a soul rent. So, I don't know, I think it's not too hard to get this to be quite castable. Turn 5, you can heavy plate and play this. I think this is pretty important. I think this is an important card. This Warrior just hasn't had these mid-sized AoEs for a while. You've had to either lean into Barov, or hope that the minions are small, or play Brawl. And this seems more flexible and powerful than any of those options without having to depend on the legendary that's going to rotate out in 4 months.
Do you think it's enough to make us turn back to control when pirates aren't going anywhere?
I mean, you don't have to choose, right? You can play slower or faster or whatever. It's hard to say, but I think the question that I've seen a lot on social media of, are the quests overtuned to the point where the new stuff doesn't see play? Most of the quests aren't seeing play right now. All right, we're talking about Warlock and Warrior as the classes that I think most people are complaining about as far as the quest. Quest Rogue is good, but has a relatively small share of the complaints. You can play these slower decks, but the need to win games of Hearthstone proactively is not going anywhere. I don't think that's a bad thing. Captain Galvangar is right there. We're looking at him on the screen. He needs armor already, and that still can be in a controlling strategy. It just happens to, at some point, say, okay, the way I'm going to control this game is by ending it on my terms. The way that the original Wallet Warrior deck that I grew up playing in Hearthstone had Grom Hellscream Inner Rage. There was a point where, all right, I've controlled this board. Now you're going to die. Grom Inner Rage, you take 10 this turn. The next turn I'm going to play Rag, and you're going to be, and the game's going to be over. You still got to have a proactive way to win. You can't just sit back. But a lot of the cards we've seen, a lot of freeze effects, a lot of good removal. They diversify strategies that we have already. They encourage people to play games a little bit longer for powerful effects. I don't think that it's out of line to say that the meta may very well slow down, and also that if they're balance outliers from previous expansions that are keeping that from happening, remember there's a nerf period 9 days after the set launches. If new stuff doesn't work, they will make it work. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. But I am not as worried about the old stuff being so overpowering because the new stuff they printed also looks pretty cool and looks efficient in many cases. Looks quite powerful too.
Strap in for those 9 days of craziness, I guess.
It's my favorite time of every expansion is that first week.
Any quests that, if any of those quests stay outliers, I think we're going to see some pretty standard commentary across the board in those first 9 days.
I mean, people upset that a deck from the previous meta that got refined for 4 months is still good. Has that ever happened before?
We definitely have no hindsight to draw from.
Yeah. Couldn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not on the quest need to go train. I understand some people are tired of losing to that way, but remember the quest everyone was complaining about, which was Mage. They killed it. They did it. They took it away. Like it's the thing that people wanted, they got what they wanted. And the Warlock quest has been nerfed so many times. Still good, but not format dominating, not format defining. Like it's a good deck. Best deck right now is Face Hunter. Again.
Yeah, no, I mean it really exemplifies the kind of whack-a-mole that can be balancing this game. It's like, oh, if they would just do something about X, then the game would be fine. And then X gets nerfed, and then Y and Z crap up. And that's exactly what's happening with Quest right now.
Yeah, but either way, I would expect the new cards to be interesting and fun and playable. And if there's anything that's holding the entire expansion back from being impactful, they'll change it pretty fast. But I think that people will have plenty to experiment with in the first week.
I think you're right. I've left today, again, like, this was more first reaction than usual for me because of coming into this out of Thanksgiving, and I think I'm just afraid of Shaman. I think that's where I'm ending this.
Yeah.
I'm still very afraid of Rogue. Scabs is just terrifying. And I think over the history of Hearthstone, Rogue has been the number one class I just don't mentally handle well losing to.
Yeah, you would not be the only person. Rogue is the most intimidating class because it just seems like they play a million cards and you're dead out of nowhere. That's why I like Rogue. I'm a big fan. But I think when Scabs happens, you'll know what you lost to. I think there will be a lot less mystery than usual around that board state because you'll have had minions, then you won't anymore, and then you take a bunch of damage. And I think that's pretty likely to be how that plays out. He's the highest rated card from everyone I've seen.
Not with a lack of understanding.
Yeah. I think it'll be more of where did my stuff go? Oh wait, it's in my hand. Oh wait, I'm dead. So if that's defining every game of Hearthstone, then I don't envision that being left the same. But curious to see. The hero cards have historically been difficult to evaluate. Wouldn't be surprised at the same thing. I went back and I looked at the United and Stormwind rating, the last community rating sheet. The number one quest on launch that people thought was going to be the best quest from community ratings was the Hunter one. And it's not a bad card, but that was not number one. It's not the best one. There were other quests that were good on day one.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. We left a few neutrals out, but we come here for the class cards, and that is what we have done. We have achieved our goal. There were some other things. There was a big patch announcement today with updates to every other damn mode of Hearthstone that you play. Stuff for Battlegrounds, stuff for Mercenaries, stuff for Duels.
Important question for you, Garrett. How will you be celebrating the death of Diablo and BGs tomorrow? How will you celebrate?
I won't be, because it honestly didn't play all that much while he was here. It was like the least amount of Battlegrounds I've played in a while, and I played the last few days, and just it was fine. It was fine. I am not a professional Battlegrounds streamer, so it didn't impact me as much as it did professional Battlegrounds streamers.
That's reasonable. What is this nuance on my podcast? Are you supposed to have a hot take?
I don't know. They were out of the office. Like I want the folks that make our games to get time off. It's gonna happen. That's how I feel about the Diablo thing. But maybe don't do it again.
Yeah, maybe not.
There we go. I'm actually really excited about Battlegrounds boards. We'll have a link to it in the show notes for you. But they're adding boards to Battlegrounds as a new cosmetic. Customizing your boards has literally been a thing we have talked about, a potential hope for an addition to this game. We have talked about this since the beta of Hearthstone as something that would be cool to do. And it's finally coming to Battlegrounds. So there you have it. Anyways, I'm losing my voice. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. If you want to support this program, you can head on over to patreon.com/TAC. That is an opt-in way to subscribe to the show. We very much appreciate it, as the show is available for free. But if you want to chip in $1, $2, or more, head on over to patreon.com/TAC. You'll also get access to our Discord for your trouble. Also, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Jeffrey D., and Dustin C. You can find the back catalog of episodes of our show anywhere podcasts can be found, or at theangrychicken.com, or at youtube.com/amove2. You should go follow Joce at Joce Plays on Twitter and check out her video game podcast, The Gamer's Inn. Not here today. We'll see her again in the future, but go give her a follow and check out our other fine podcasts. But Hat, where can folks find you?
Twitter.com/RidiculousHat is the best place. It's the hub of my content. I do 2 other Hearthstone podcasts. Twitch.tv/CoinConcede. No, CoinConcede.com. That's we make the competitor of the game more accessible to you. And also ViciousSyndicate.com, where we take a data-driven look at the standard metagame. Garrett, where can people find you?
emove.tv, that's where this podcast is posted, and every single other damn show that I produce. I would really like to shine a light on youtube.com/amovetv, where I have recently dusted that off and started doing Nexus Gaming News with my good friend Kyle, which in the last month has morphed into my journey into Final Fantasy XIV. And it's doing quite well. We've started getting some nice traction over on YouTube. I've spent a lot more time editing and kind of flexing my video editing chops that I do for contract work, but never do for my own personal projects. So they're shorter, much more visually interesting pieces of YouTube content than you may be used to from me. And if you want to experience my dive into this MMO that I said I would never play and now cannot stop playing, go to youtube.com/amovetv and check out the last 3 uploads. It's literally like kind of a play-by-play of someone coming down off of World of Warcraft and going into Final Fantasy XIV. So anyways, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. We'll see you for the next expansion. And until then, job's done.
Job's done.